Well, we're going to work on the final buffing of this polyurethane. I've decided to break out the actual steps as to how I did this into a completely separate video. But here we'll focus on, kind of the macro picture of what's going on. So I'm working on the cabinet. I had already figured out the drawers, and then we'll work towards the top. So here we go. Well, I just finished the polishing of the the lower part of the cabinet, and the drawers were done. I put those back in, but I really am happy with this. I mean, the surfaces feel terrific, and you can see when I move the camera here, there's a bit of a mirror finish there, and this is glass smooth, so I could not be happier. Even these areas where I thought I'd have difficulty, I used steel wool on this, and then I did, as you saw, maybe you saw, I did use the 3 different grades of polish on that. Excuse me. And that worked out pretty good. The cabinet, even the feet, everything polished up very nice. So, I'm pretty happy with it. So I got the inside. So really, I have no complaints. Much worked out much better than I had expected. I was even able to work in here with my, little drill-based buffing wheels. So what I have to do now is get a little help. Have somebody help me just pull this down off the bench. And then I'm going to go ahead and polish the top. And I specifically saved the top for the last because I wanted to make sure I really knew what I was doing before I took on the top. So I'll get on with that next. Well, here we go with the buffing of the top. So we started with the 400 grit, 1000 grit, 2000 grit, 3000 grit. And then we eventually here pull out the buffer and we get the first part of buffing. And I worked on that first set of polish pretty heavy. So it worked out pretty good. Okay, so I'm excited. You can see I started to polish the top. Did my 400 grit, 1000, 2000, 3000. Then I just did my first polish. Now, I have 2 more polishes to go yet. This was my coarsest grain, and this top already looks fantastic. I just took a little more time, let it work a little more, and boy, this thing really pops already. So I can't wait to just do these next few coats. I mean, this is really nice. It just feels terrific. It even looks great right now. Honestly, I could walk away without doing these next 2 polishes with this the way it is, and I would be super thrilled. But let's go ahead and do the next 2 and see how this works out. But it's looking really good now. I'm not going too fast here. There's a variable speed buffer. I have it set pretty slow. Okay, let's wipe that off. Oh, I got quite a reflection off of it already. I kind of go by how clear the reflection is.
You gotta remember I used a semi-gloss polyurethane on here, so I'm not expecting it to be, you know, real glossy, but not a perfect mirror finish by any stretch. But this looks great. And I know the next one really is going to make it pop. So. As I'm doing this final polish, I can actually see the reflection building, becoming stronger and clearer, right through the haze.
Wow. Wow, looks good to me. Wow, that's a great reflection off of there. A few spots maybe could use a little more. Right in here maybe, but maybe in here. Boy, that looks nice though. I could not possibly be happier with that. Well, to wrap up this video, I'm going to just show you the final little bits here. I did put the backs onto the pedestals, and I also put the hardware on to the desk. It is not the original hardware by any stretch, although I don't think the hardware that was on it was original either. Here's a couple of examples of what was on it, and this is after I cleaned it up. What I found out is I had 5 of these that were tin. You know, here's a smaller one that was used on the upper drawers. And one of them actually was a brass finish, so I'm sure this was a new piece or added at some point to replace something else that was broken. Whether these were original or not, I have no idea. But I don't really like the way they look. And, you know, I couldn't find, I would have needed another one of these anyways. And I just don't want to use them. So what I found was the desk I'm actually replacing use similar hardware, so the 2 lower ones you can see don't quite match this one. Now that top one is a 2.5 inch on center. The bottom drawers are 3 inch on center. From this distance, the only thing you can notice is just the color shading is different. Well, so these just, I took 4 of these off the desk I'm gonna replace using this one I've just refinished. And I found these 2.5 inch on center that are pretty close as far as match online. But now that I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to go ahead and order new hardware here as well for those 4 remaining pieces. And if I can find something that looks a little better for this centerpiece, I think I'll do that too. But for now, I'm ready to, you know, get this put in my office and get moved over to it. So, hey, thanks a lot for following along. I hope you learned a little bit as I went. I know I learned a ton. I would certainly appreciate you joining as a subscriber. It really helps. Thanks a bunch. Bye now.